Okay, we are on to U1A3. They call it unsaturated, and I call it double and triple bonds. Unsaturated means it has less carbons in it. So if you take a sponge and you put it in a bucket, it gets saturated with water. When you put double and triple bonds in, there's not that room to fill up with the quote-unquote water. So you can't get as many hydrogens around something, so it's not saturated with hydrogens. It's not an important term to know. All you have to know how to do is name things with double and triple bonds. Always longest chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's pent. The double bond is between the second and third carbon. Take the lowest number, 2. So it's 2 pent. It's ENE instead of ANE now. So that's ENE, ene, 2-pentene. Now, what happens if you have more than one double bond? Well, in this case, what we're going to have is we're going to have 1,2-dipentene. The other way to name that is 1,2-pentadiene. So it would be penta, P-E-N-T-A, diene. It's important that you remember that the numbers tell you where the double bonds are, and this indicates that there are 2 double bonds. What happens if we have a triple bond? Then we count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's now ine, Y-N-E. Alphabetical order. Single bonds are A-N-E, double bonds are E-N-E, and triple bonds are Y-N-E. What happens if we get one double bond and one triple bond? This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hexene, and then on the third carbon there is an ine, or we could call it 3-hexine, 1-ene. So as long as where we indicate the double and triple bonds, it's after the root, so it's after the hex. This is a suffix. Okay, we've got 2 more to do here. They go through things called cis and trans. So in a double bond, sometimes the carbons go off in opposite directions. Okay, that opposite direction is trans. So this would be 2-butene, but it would be trans. If they do a drawing where these things go off in opposite directions, it's very important. Now this whole cis, I'm going to use the term cis and trans, is extremely important in chemistry and in your life. If you've ever heard of things called trans fats, it's because the double bonds have carbons going off in opposite directions. Trans fats are not good for us. They're not found in nature, and therefore we get complications when we eat trans fats. What most of our fats are is they're cis. So both carbons, cis means same, and trans means different or opposite. So both carbons are going off in the same direction. They're both going down. In this case, one's going up and one's going down. I would highly suggest you watch a video on something called cis and trans isomer. Iso means different, mer means molecule. These molecules look the same, but they're different forms of the same molecule. So if you look up a video on cis and trans isomers, I think that'll help out. Note that these are both 2-butene, but this is cis-2-butene. Now, in my mind, they should have stopped this section right here and just covered double and triple bonds. But now what they're doing is they're starting to attach other things onto the carbon chain. These things here are called halogens. They're group 7 elements, and we can put them onto the carbon chain. Now, in the real world, where do they do this? They do this with things like herbicides or insecticides. These things can be very toxic. So we have fluorine, which we call fluoro, chlorine, which we call chloro, Br is bromo, and iodo. So we could put an I on there, we could put a Cl on there, maybe another I here, and then we can try and name this. We treat it the same way we would treat a methyl ethyl or propyl. We have the longest chain is pentane. Always get your longest chain down. Then we have 2,2-diiodo. We have a 4-chloro. Believe it or not, that says chloro. I just didn't get the O in. We can mix this with other things. So we can put a methyl group on there. We can put a BR on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pent. It's got a double bond, so that's pentene. Where's the double bond? It's on the first carbon. On the second carbon, we have a methyl. So we have 2-methyl, and then we have 4-bromo. So we didn't change any rules. All we did was we said that we could add group 7 elements or halogens on. And once again, we said these group 7 elements are usually found on things that are meant to be toxic. Insecticides, herbicides, anything like that is going to have these halogens attached to it. So we didn't change any rules, we just changed what we attached.